Welcome to News and Nonsense. Oh, thank you so much for being here with us this Sunday afternoon. We've had a bit of a time shift because we've been busy gals, lots of stuff going on. So this is News and Nonsense. I'm Auntie AK, the auntie of all aunties, and I'm just a queer junkie on a normal day. And I'm here with
I'm Farrah, your resident Caribbean queen.
I'm Nana, aka the Blackberry, aka Dark and Lovely.
And we're here with News and Nonsense. And what is News and Nonsense, you might ask? Well, News and Nonsense is where we, your favourite aunties, sift through all the nonsense of the week and bring you all the proper news and get rid of all the nonsense. We separate the wheat from the chaff, the sap from the crap. We find the diamonds in the rough so you have a better life because we're amazing and we like to help you out. So, yeah, join in, get involved in the conversations. Don't forget to
hit that like button, please. And also sign up to our YouTube membership. I have put the link in the chat. It just costs $1.99. We are back on the road to 200. So, guys, you know what you need to do. Please sign up now.
Please, we have got feedback. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but we'll figure that out as we go along. Let's get straight into it. Do you want to do roll call? Who's in the chat right now? We know we've changed the time.
I know we've changed the time. People are coming in slowly. I am seeing the numbers going up, but we do have Ceylon Delon who came in, well, not even early, on time, and was asking why we were not on time. Jordan Parker is in the house as well, and Ashes to Ashes, and Shayla is here. Oh, Shayla's early.
Hi, everybody.
Different time. Share this, please. Like, if you know somebody who would usually be with us on a live show, please send this to them so that they know that we're live.
Yeah, let's get into it. All right, so my first story, is this news or nonsense? Celebrities and their obsession with alcohol brands. I feel like there's a bunch of celebrities that all they're doing is releasing alcohol. And we know what alcohol does to the greater nation. Is it a problem that George Clooney, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Snoop Dogg, Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, LeBron James, Bob Dylan, apparently, and Michael Jordan and more have all launched alcohol brands? And I don't know. I don't know why it's alcohol more than health things or water or healthy foods and stuff like that. Is there something in it? And then the other day, I think it was KSI. He went in on somebody else who created a non-alcoholic. Hold on, let me get the link up. A non-alcoholic brand, which I thought, well, people's releasing alcohol. Why don't you non-alcoholic brand be like the best thing to do? But he released this thing on his socials saying this. He was like, so he said, "What happened to actors, man? I cannot say anything more. This selling of stuff for the sake of making money, simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to people who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better." So Tom Holland has created a non-alcoholic beer. But I'm very, 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 very sure that KSI also sells that horrible drink. Was it Prime? I don't. Okay, let me not. I'm not going to say it's horrible. Yeah. So I don't know why he's talking.
Or could he have been being sarcastic?
I don't know. Maybe he's trying to but I don't know. I don't know. I just saw that. I was like, why is he talking when he sells Prime? But maybe he is cussing people out who are cussing celebrities. Maybe he's cussing me indirectly. Who knows? But I just want to know, what do you lot think about celebrities and their brand or their business deviations when they pivot into other strands, and especially considering like alcohol? Why is alcohol the extra brand of choice?
I don't like it, and I'm just going on Beyonce, because I think being like you're a Christian woman and God-led and everything else, it just seems crazy the amount of commercialization that she is involved in. And especially, I understood the beauty range of stuff, but moving into the alcohol space to me just feels it's wrong. I want to say demonic, but it's that's such a cliche now to just bring up the word demonic with everything. And as somebody who does drink alcohol anyway, it's like I just feel the brandings that these people have and the influence that they have on society, it rubs me up the wrong way that they're all involved in the liquor business. And the liquor business is notoriously gangster led anyway, as well. It's like, it's very closely linked to the drugs business. So it just feels there's too much of an element of criminality.
Okay, so I didn't go to criminality, but I am my mummy kind of sensibility is like all this alcohol that you guys are promoting. I mean, I think Beyonce's Sir Davis, which is she's branded it after her grandfather, and there's a legacy story behind it. It is it's high price, so it's not aimed at the youth. And I guess like I think Charlie Sloth is it? It's got the AU, which is literally sugar in a bottle. So there's ones that that the kids are going to go for, and then there's ones that is promoted to an adult market. So I'm like, part of me is like, well, it's adults. Adults are going to drink, and if adults drink, why not get you? There's nothing wrong with it in the adult space. I don't think there's potentially anything wrong, but I'm also a bit like, why is it always alcohol? And it is exactly that. If you're whoever you are and your morals are either Christian or health, why would you go into the market, the alcohol space? And that does just seem like money grabbing. And I mean, again, it's like not putting the pressure of everything and the weight of the Black community on Black celebrities in specifically, but we know that when there's a marginalized community that in the world globally is suffering because of white supremacy, we shouldn't necessarily partake in things that add to the stress. So we do in poverty-stricken places, alcoholism is a problem and that type of thing. So when we have our celebrities promoting something like alcohol, when we know there's an issue within our communities, not to say disproportionately, because we know that maybe the Native Americans have that type of issue. That's a very big issue. Alcoholism is a very serious issue in their community because of everything that's happened to them. And I think, and the Aborigines as well in Australia have a similar dependence on alcohol. That's their highest kind of thing that they're dependent on. I don't want that pressure, but also then why would you do that? Why wouldn't you get into something else like healthy eating, like Khalees and her farm and stuff like that? So I don't know. And I don't know whether it's easy to say. I just don't know. I'm not really happy.
No, I think we can be judgmental.
Okay.
In this area on them because it does feel it's not good for us. So when you are like a marginalized community, especially within the West, and then they lord over people who have done well, and then the people who have done well are selling you vices that actually contribute to your downfall. Come on, this is by design. It doesn't make sense that this is what's constantly being pushed. And it's pushed in a way like, oh, but you guys were drinking Alizé. At least if you're going to drink Ciroc, Diddy becomes rich. Bad is bad. Like, it doesn't matter who's getting wealthy off of it. We shouldn't be like it's a bad thing. And just because there's a Black person behind it, we should support it. But and then though the price is high, that doesn't mean anything. There are kids wearing Montclair because their celebs were wearing it. It's not for them, but they will make money or however they're going to do their money, steal it, rob, whatever, to get that high aspirational thing. So people, the fact that whiskey is being forced down our throats at this moment in time, it's the same thing. It's like it's just a commercial product. And who sells? Beyonce sells. Let's get her doing it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, Glenn Elms is saying drugs and alcohol is bad for our community. End of.
Yeah.
Selon Delon is Black capitalism is not our savior. And then Jordan Parker said, because we love your drink, all of those stars have had brands for years, as far as I know. And then, yes, Selon Delon also says they get promoted heavily towards Christmas time as gifts, along with seasonal warnings about driving. So it's like I mean, we all drink. So again, not to be hypocritical, I drink, you drink, we like a little drink. I'm very much, even as a parent, I don't like now. I mean, my daughter seen me drunk once or twice, not loads of times. I've come in from a rave and been a bit drunk, but I've kept it very much away from her. It's not something that at home, it's like, as she grew up, she didn't really see mum having a drink. That wasn't my thing.
Yeah.
I used to smoke. I've said it before, so it's not a surprise. When I was in my teens, I smoked weed. When I had my daughter, I stopped smoking because I really wanted to see my daughter to see me as her mum, as her role model, as someone who, if I'm going through hardships and issues, I'm not drawing for a substance to alleviate my stress or as a pacifier to what's going on. So I was very, very much adamant that you're not going to see me draw for a drink when I'm stressed. You're not going to see me draw for a cigarette or a spliff because I'm feeling some type of way, because I want her to understand that let's look at other ways to dealing with our stress. I mean, that not to say that she could have easily smoked, and she does drink now, but not in an out of control way. When she goes out once in a while, she'll have a drink. But I really thought that was important. So drinking culture is not my thing, but in some cultures, drinking at the table is normalized as a way for it not to be something that kids then see as a special thing, and then they get dependent on. So there's also that. So I guess it's also how you view alcohol in your family, in your society.
Yeah, but the peddling of celebs with brands and steeping it within culture, it shows up in all of their videos. That feeds into like feeding impressionable minds, and it's influence as well. It's like, it's why they give all of the influencers a bottle of Magnum. Now Magnum turns into a thing. Like, they know what they're doing, but also, why is it that as a rapper or singer you will get these brand deals and it's for specific products? It's either going to be hair care, skin care, or drinks. These are the things. Like, there isn't a whole load of things that as a community we would need, and they're not pushing that. They don't get deals in that space. That's the thing where I'm very skeptical of, actually. And then also, we've got to look into all of those things. What's in the products that they're giving us? What are the ingredients? Or trainers, for real. Like, why are they pushing this at us and other communities don't get pushed the same things? Why is it that, as a vegan, I'm sure, or she may not be a vegan anymore, but for a time Beyonce was a vegan. Why was there not a whole vegan range of food,
Well,
or cooking stuff, or just crockery? Like, just, it's always the same tropes that are thrown at the community, and it's like, why is that? We got to really think, what does that mean?
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, just as a by the by, there are some celebrities that have got health and some space in health and wellness. You've got Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop. You've got Jessica Alba's The Honest Company, and Jennifer Aniston's Vital Proteins. LeBron James has got Ladder. I don't know what that is. Kate Hudson's Fabletics. Beyonce has got 22 days nutrition, but I haven't seen that promoted for a while. Kourtney Kardashian's got Push, and Miranda Kerr's got Cora Organics. Maria Shaparova's got Sugar Pova, Healthier Snacks, and Mark Wahlberg's got Performance-Inspired Nutritions. So there are celebrities doing other stuff, but
from that list that you just said, I don't think there was one black celebrity in there,
apart from Beyonce,
and that's a problem.
Yeah, and LeBron James has got something too, and then I mean, Will Smith had water with his son as well.
Yeah,
water brand, but I don't know. I've seen it, but I don't know if it's still going.
I think so. I think they are. I don't think it's heavily been out there in Europe though. They're just brand. At one stage, I swear Boots may have been stocking it for a bit. I haven't seen it in there for a while as well.
And maybe it's harder. Just to give, like, I mean, Farrah, you've just managed to come back in. What do you think about celebrities and their alcohol businesses, and what you think?
I'm a bit conflicted by it, because I think people are selling alcohol anyway. So part of me is like, if it's going to be sold, and it's going to be sold by people who are not of the community, why don't people of the community sell it? Like, I know it was, I know like Jay-Z and people like that have said before, why am I going to buy this alcohol when I can buy it from this person over here? So that's why I'm a bit conflicted. I do think the market's probably oversaturated with it, but I'm not as anti as it as you guys. I could kind of still hear when I was having my technical difficulties what you guys were saying. Yeah. And I also don't think it should be totally onto them to always promote. Why do we look to celebrities to promote everything all the time? You know, like, we don't always know what they're doing in their private lives. Why do we look to them to promote health if that's not necessarily what they're about in reality? Some of them do promote health, like sorry, we're still talking. Some of them do promote health, like you said, and 50 Cent had a water line years ago. So, and he sold it to Coca-Cola. There's a famous lyric about it in one of his raps. Yeah, I don't know. I'm conflicted. As I said, it's partly because it's oversaturated, but I'm not expecting them not to do things if everyone else is doing stuff. Why not make money?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like what's the why is it alcohol and nothing else? It doesn't even just have to be health. I think none of you said like it's crockery. It's obviously some of them have clothing brands.
That's why it's not just alcohol and nothing else.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm just exploring like what else is there, but it's seemingly like alcohol seems to be the thing, and it might be just that actually not. It's not that many, and there's so many other things, and why not alcohol? But yeah, let's see. Jordan Park says, maybe it's a state I live in, but we have alcohol beverage control stores. You have to have ID. And truthfully, the only ad for alcohol I've ever seen was Ciroc. Dammy J says, although it's a commercial product, there are whiskey fans out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why they've jumped on it, because the whiskey fan community is a very strong one and it was growing. It's like they always do things in seasons of how the tide is changing. They know that country music is going to be one of the biggest forms of music within the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So you will start seeing people doing country music like the same way there was a wave of hip hop. They know what the tide is. So even if you think of country, whiskey kind of goes hand in hand with that as well. Like they know what they're doing. And that's what's dubious to me, is you're basically forecasting what people are going to be interested in. And I find that sinister, because then it's not truly authentic. It's like everybody is being influenced like a herd into a state of affairs. And it is like, so why are you now pushing alcohol on us all? Like, what else are you trying to numb us from? Those are the things where I'm like, and also with all the beauty brands, it's the same thing. It's like you're playing into people's insecurities. So you have these celebrities selling us stuff. I'm not for it. It's just too manipulative. It's yeah, I don't like it.
Let's see. So yeah, let's see. So is that news or nonsense, guys?
I mean, it's something to look out for. I wouldn't buy an alcohol beverage because it was endorsed by a celebrity, though. But maybe I'm not the target for that.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know who. I don't know. I'm gone past the stage of being influenced about drinks and stuff. But no, that's not true, because there's makeup. I mean, I bought Fenty because Rihanna put it out there, and it appealed to my black woman looking for skin shades. Pat McGrath, her makeup, because it's a black woman running it. I'd get her makeup if I could afford it.
I think for me, if I was to make conscious decisions about things, I'd always want to support somebody who's of the community before I support a conglomerate that is like just here using us. And that's not to say that these things aren't distributed by them ultimately, but why not support? If I'm going to buy something anyway, why not go to buy the black person's thing first? If I'm going to buy,
I tend to buy black where I can, where possible.
Once I've tried it, then I'm not going to continue to buy it just because it's a black person. But I think I would try it.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. All right, next story. Gaza. There's a lot's been going on. I just stumbled upon this. Sorry, I should have got his name. Rayad Mansour at the United Nations Security Council. He was speaking, just basically what he was saying about what's going on in Gaza. And he's just calling people out. And I just thought it was interesting what he was saying. And then we can give a bit of a.
Should I get the video up?
Yeah, please.
Or if you've got it, okay, cool.
I don't have words, but because it's been a day. Let's see. Rayad Mansour. So Rayad is he's a permanent observer of the state of Palestine to the United Nations. So he's a diplomat from Palestine. He's a Palestinian American, and he's not been afraid to call out and challenge what has been going on. And basically what he was saying is like, you guys just copy, paste, repeat, and nothing's changing. You don't want to change. And it was just, I liked what he said, but I just don't know if it's going to have an impact, because it's not like he hasn't been talking ever since this stuff has been going on. I don't know if you have like an overall update that Farrah, our resident.
No, we can watch it.
Cool.
Okay, let me just start this again.
Pick up Danny fucking Price.
We had dozens of meetings. I heard the word must maybe 100 times in this session. Must to have ceasefire. Must to have a humanitarian assistance. Must to do all the things, a long list. And one country is not listening to you. And you are refusing collectively to use the tools available to you to implement its resolutions. The last one, 2735, starts with a ceasefire. You repeat that and you ask for it and you say we must have a ceasefire, and one is not listening, ignoring you. At times in the past used to lecture you that why are you wasting your time in this discussion? You should be paying attention to another country. Now they change the style. You talk, they play with their cell phones, and they're ignoring you. And you keep repeating the same thing. You don't have teeth. You are not using the tools that are available to you in order to make them to listen to you. You're not using that. You keep repeating this. And I wonder if the people watching us, especially in Palestine and in the Middle East, they heard this record so many times before. Who is stopping you from imposing and forcing your resolution to be implemented, to have a ceasefire? There's one standing in your way. And you are refusing to use the tools. You keep calling for, appealing for, must do this, must do that, and the one is not listening. And I think Einstein, if I'm not mistaken, said that you keep repeating the same thing, expecting different results when you fail. It's an exercise in futility. And you are a perfect example of that saying of that brilliant man, Einstein. If you call...
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like talking to an echo chamber, and it's draining. I don't always have the words to articulate how frustrating this is, but it is just like we've said many times on this show and on the main show, that we're watching an actual genocide unfold in front of our eyes just for the sake of political power. And the fact that now they reckon they've killed the Hamas leader, but then to what? You've now bred, and rightly so, if they were, you've incentivized a generation of Palestinians that will be very anti the West. And if you breed a generation of terrorists, and then this war never ends.
That word, let's not use that word, because I oppose that word. These people are their freedom. The word terrorism comes from the West. That's what they are calling these people who have been persecuted.
Just saying how they would describe them, how they would describe them, which I was going to counter. How they would describe you, breeding a generation of terrorists that you would describe as terrorists, when actually you're not taking accountability for how you created people who are angry about what you've done to them, or wanting to protect their land and stuff like that. So I wasn't using terrorists in my word. It's basically what they would use to describe people who they've displaced on purpose.
I mean, the frustrating thing for everybody with a shred of decency that are watching this atrocity unfold daily is that he's right. He's been sat there. He's been saying what he's saying. There's country to oppose it. But the UN and the UN Security Council are doing nothing. They're not actually using the tools that they've been given to actually stop these people from continuing. You know, the Hamas leader, what's his name? Yahya Sinwar was murdered, was killed in it wasn't even a strategic strike that killed him. He was actually killed by chance, you know, because they've been saying for this last year that he is exactly Exactly. Thank you very much. He was killed in plain sight, not hiding under any tunnels, not hiding under around the hostages, which is what they've been saying since this started. He was killed in plain sight. And shortly after this, a few politicians came out and made statements, like Kamala Harris. She came out and she said, this is going to allow us to end the war. Note that she said us. But then at the same time, Netanyahu came out and he said, this isn't over. And since then, there's been multiple massacres. Like North Gaza is being eradicated. It's being bombed daily. And so the fact that they're saying, oh, we've scored, we've done this, we've killed this leader, you're absolutely right, Aquarius. It doesn't mean anything, because you may have killed the leader. It's a little bit like this. This is what they need to recognize. If you assassinate a Western leader, when Western leaders have been assassinated, has that stopped the West doing what they're doing? It hasn't, has it? They continue. So what makes you think that these people who, in their eyes, and rightly in my eyes too, they're fighting for their freedom? These people are not allowed to leave where they are. So what, they should just be like, okay, no, it's fine. You've killed this person. We're now going to go back into slavery and just sit down and just be persecuted. Is that what you think? And they should shut up and be humble about it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I don't blame him, the UN Palestinian representative, because it's tiring. He shows up every day and has to listen to the dehumanization of his people every day. And people talk about, oh, well, Israel has a right to protect themselves. Does nobody else have a right to protect themselves then? Nobody.
That's what I don't understand. Not that I don't understand, and we know what they're doing, but it's just so wild to watch this unfold. And it's like when people are just talking, they're just talking.
Which people who rang me would not answer.
And you can hear them lying, and they're lying to your face, and they're talking as if it's normal. Like, even with Kamala saying the threat is over. What are you talking about? It's so weird to see. And Jordan Parker, you're right. Netanyahu is a warlord that should never be given power again. But he's not going anywhere at this point. He's not going anywhere. And look, God forbid if someone takes him out, what that would cause, what kind of war that would cause. But go on.
Sorry, I was just going to say, they're saying things like Israel has a right to protect itself, and that, oh, it's terrible that these people launched rockets into Israeli territory, military territory. They launched rockets. Israel are bombing people. They're burning people alive. They're shredding people. They are using the most technologically advanced weaponry on people who are trying to resist that with rockets. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. And the Western world they've got so much blood on their hands from this. You know, like, weren't we just talking about the other day how the day that the guy was burnt in the hospital bed with his IV drip on, they were talking about, oh, look at these Israeli soldiers that have been killed, and naming them. They're soldiers versus civilians. And I'm not saying that death is right. I'm actually not saying that. But if you're going to talk about one state of affairs, talk about the other state of affairs. You want us to be sympathetic for the occupier. Like, oh, they've been provoked. Do you not think the Palestinians have been provoked?
Exactly.
For over 50 years. But we're on like 70, I think it's on like 78 years or so now. They haven't had any rights. Yes, they haven't had any rights since 1948. So if you even just think of October the 7th, a year later, and how many people have just been killed in Gaza, and then you move it on to Lebanon, and you try to do Lebanon in the 80s, and you come back again now because America are basically willing to back you in any way, shape, or form at this moment in time. Israel is just seizing its moment. They're just running with it. It's so frustrating and saddening that we're actually living through this time, because, you know, we're like in history when they would be like, oh, this happened. So even the Holocaust, you'd be like, how did the Holocaust even take place? How does this happen? At least you got a war from it. But actually, it's how they teach it to us, because they kind of go on like nothing was taking place before the Germans were exterminating the Jewish people. It's like there wasn't a whole movement where all around the world, people were complicit in actually the eradication of Jews. And so we're back here again, like they are the bad ones. I predict, I give it about 5 years. Once they've got it all going, then whoever is in power in Israel is going to be the worst person ever. And it may not even be Netanyahu. It may be whoever takes over from him. And they will be the one. They will be the new Hitler. And then it will be like, oh my God, what they did was so atrocious. We thought that they had the right to defend themselves, but then the West would have got whatever it is that they need to get from Israel, and then they'll keep it moving again. Like, we're actually all allowing this to take place when we support governments that do this. Yeah. And this has been my thing with voting. Like, it's not just the lesser of two evils. This is bigger than what's happening in your safe country. We are not being bombed. There are other people who wake up daily and you're thanking the Lord that you have your mum, your daughter, your grandma still alive. Like, that's their daily occurrence. Yeah. And they've been under this for a whole year. And we're talking about, oh, if they're going to put up the rent, if we got to pay council tax. Like, these are two different things. Like, we have to be like a world community and be like, this cannot go on. We cannot support governments that are okay with another country just bombing folks daily. Yeah.
They're talking about civilian life on one side of things and totally ignoring civilian life for the people who are being occupied.
Yeah.
You know, the occupied people do not have they are not required to not resist, like, really and truly, because they're being occupied. That's the whole point of it. Why should they resist occupation? Like, anyway, you know my thoughts on it. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's just disgusting that we're seeing every day. Like, the German president or prime minister, or whoever the hell he is, he came out the other day and he said, I'm gonna send weapons all the time. I'm never not gonna send weapons. And it's like, you're trying to alleviate your guilt and the horrors that your country caused to these people by arming these, extremists, these Zionists, with weaponry to kill people. That's what you're doing.
All complicit in this shit.
There was this other guy who was speaking about Somaliland. Hold on one second. And the occupation, again, it's that Western or Israel trying to put their army base in Somaliland. So he's speaking against that. DJ Bakwali, he comments quite a lot on these things.
Brilliant as well, actually. If you guys can follow him, he says a lot about the region and, Africa.
Sorry, what are you talking?
I was, sorry.
Sorry, let me go back to the beginning.
Over Somaliland. They want to build a military base there. The United Arab Emirates, which already has a military base in Somaliland, is shepherding this deal due to a variety of geopolitical and economic reasons. Positioned perfectly along the Gulf of Aden, near the Bab al-Mandab Strait, Somaliland holds a key location coveted by global powers. Israel, with its lack of strategic depth, sees Somaliland as a perfect place to counter Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen and expand its influence across the Horn of Africa. But there's a massive catch. Somaliland would be inviting chaos by allowing Israel to establish a military base on its soil. First, regional tensions will explode. If Somaliland aligns with Israel, it effectively joins the Israel-Iran proxy war. Iran-backed Houthis, already entrenched in Yemen, will see Somaliland as an enemy outpost. Strikes, sabotage, and militant attacks would follow. Somaliland's current peace would be shattered, and its role as a stable, independent region could be consumed by the broader Israeli-Iran conflict. Regional powers like Saudi Arabia and Turkey might also see Somaliland as part of a power struggle, further destabilizing not just Somaliland, but the entire Horn of Africa region. Second, internal unrest would be almost guaranteed. Somaliland's population is predominantly Muslim. many with deep sympathies for the Palestinian cause. Israel's recent military actions in Gaza and Lebanon have inflamed these sentiments globally. Hosting an Israel military base would be seen as a betrayal, sparking protests and potentially fueling radicalization. The government's credibility would be on the line, with domestic opposition likely to grow louder and more disruptive. Third, Somaliland's sovereignty would be at risk.
Yeah.
While Israeli recognition and investments in exchange of a military base might seem like a sweet deal, it comes with strings attached. A military base is not just a security foothold, it's a long-term commitment that would tie Somaliland's foreign policy to Israeli and UAE interests. Over time, this would undermine Somaliland's independence, dragging it into conflicts it has no control over. Instead of pursuing its own diplomatic course, Somaliland would become a pawn in the wider geopolitical chessboard. Somaliland cannot afford to expose itself and the Horn of Africa to unpredictable security storms. The cost of allowing an Israeli military base far outweigh any potential short-term gains. Somaliland should protect its peace, stability, and sovereignty by saying no to an Israeli military base.
100%. And that part of dragging Africa into these wars by proxy and paying us as puppets and pawns means we're never ever fully independent. Always in debt, always being controlled by the West, and then always being heavily sanctioned when the West change their mind or when they want to change their allegiances and their alliances and perspective. There's no way for Africa to stand on its own 2 feet, or Africa, and I say Africa at large as a continent, but every individual country that they try and put their claws into, then they're never ever fully free. And I love what you said about having a military base. So we've got in Ghana, we've got an American base. I don't know how many others are in there, but it's like that means you're never ever fully free. You have to move wherever who's got their claws in your land, where they go. You're not free. You're not independent. You have to do what they say by force. And that's the part where appealing to African leaders. But then I also understand when you're trying to keep your country from being heavily sanctioned and kept in poverty, which is what the West does, which is what the major powers do. They withdraw resources from the countries that don't play game with them, the country that they think that they can manipulate. And that's where it's hard. And, you can appeal to the Somaliland leader, but if he sees the bag before his people, then what are we going to do? Or he sees the law, not even just the bag, thinking it's stability. Like it's easier to go with them than go against them.
It's a longer con that they would have done. So especially with Somaliland and Sudan, it's like they've been playing that region for a while because they really do need the Horn.
Yes.
And so who they allowed to lead, they already have an alliance to them. Like at this point in time, they probably are going to have a base there because the leader has already been under their kibosh already. Yeah. So unless Iran are all backed by China are going to counter that with something bigger, there probably already is an allegiance to Israel. Yes. And for them to have that land peaceful for a time, it would be interesting to research into it, and I bet their weapons were actually funded by Israel already. And that's what Israel has been doing across Africa. They have been going around and giving weapons. And Americans, like they all do it together.
Like we've got so many of the superpowers in quotes planting their seeds in Africa, in different African countries, to just have allegiances. So then imagine what happens, literally what happened in Black Panther when all the superhero worlds came to fight in Wakanda. Similar thing. Like then the war will happen in Africa, not in their not in the West and anywhere else. Everyone's going to start fighting in Africa. And then Africa gets destroyed.
Is what they do. To some degree, some parts of it, some countries, usually along a coast, where they can maneuver from. It's a scary time for the Horn as well. Anyway, just how they're going to maneuver through these 2 Middle Eastern countries, like just geographically trying to take over places. is scary because they've wanted that part of Africa as well.
Yeah.
So having an Israeli base, that's chaos.
It's wild.
Yeah, I think you've just. I dropped out again. Sorry, my internet is really giving issues today. I think I just heard Nana say what I fear the most about this whole thing. It is a takeover bid. You know, it starts with them having their military base there, and then it ends with them saying that the people of that country are incapable of managing their own country themselves, which is how it's all began with all of these colonizers. Sorry, this is exactly how they've actually gone about things. They convinced the wider world that the people who they're colonizing they don't have the skills to actually manage their own countries. And, you know, it's the region that Somaliland is in. It will be an all-out war, you know, in Yemen, between Yemen and Somaliland, because of where it is. Like, the Western world hate the fact that Yemen control that part of the Red Sea. Like, you cannot enter. They can stop anything entering their waters. They actually hate and detest that. If they can grab hold of something that's directly opposite, then it opens up a whole new ball game for them. But just protect it at all causes. I just see this bleeding in to the rest of Africa, and then the Western world are saying, well, they have a right to protect themselves. You know, Israel it's protecting themselves. That's all it will be. Before we know it, it will be us in Africa who are suffering again.
Yeah, the war will take over there. And then you've got sending soldiers from African countries to fight wars that they have no business being involved in. No business being involved in.
Yeah.
But because you're going to have the country on their knees, if they don't play ball, then they're just going to leave and be like, fuck it. And then if they have the right leader that's got Western ties, that's got establishments in the West so they can be safe and just leave their country at will, then that's what's going to happen. It's a long strategy, Con, and I hate it. Even with us thinking like going back and having our security in our home countries, who knows in the next couple of 5 to 10 years what that's going to look like when this thing ramps up. Because
it's scary. It is. It's a scary time. That even if you think of like West Africa and Senegal, is it Senegal that has the new set of leaders?
Yes, the new empowered leaders,
the younger ones. Yes, and also like Mali, Burkina Faso. Like it's like there's a whole wave of where they're just really rejecting France, and as that moves along, and you hope. I mean, there's lots of things happening in Nigeria as well in the same way, and it will probably affect Ghana, and then you have to Gambia too. You have to have an allegiance to. Okay, what are we going to do? Are we really going to kind of go back to a Pan-Africanist set of we're now going to try and be as self-determined as possible? There will be a war. When we all decide we are no longer going to have the dollar ruling us, America ain't going to take this lightly.
100%.
It's funny that you say that because yesterday was the 41st anniversary of the death of the Grenadian Prime Minister Maurice Bishop. And Maurice Bishop was a prolific politician, and he basically brought a whole bunch of great things to the island of Grenada. You know, he wanted to step away from the USA having anything to do with Grenada and having any say. And then the Americans deemed him to be a communist. He was, you know, trying to bring the region of the Caribbeans together and step away from Western influence. You know, he was great friends with what's his name, Castro, and the guy in, I can't remember the other one, Che Guevara. Like, these are people that he aligned with to a certain degree, and he was able to, as I said, lower the rate of illiteracy, lower the rate of unemployment. And then Biden was part of the Reagan. No, he wasn't part of the Reagan administration, but basically Ronald Reagan invaded Grenada, perhaps like maybe about 4 or 5 days after Maurice Bishop was assassinated. And Biden basically said he agreed with it. He said the president is right to invade Grenada, and also voted in favor of evoking the act so that US forces could remain in Grenada without further congressional authorizations. So this is a little small island, but because they didn't like what they were doing, they basically invaded it and made it unstable And you know, in a way of saying that it was democracy. They were fighting for democracy and against what's the word I used it before?
Communism.
Communism. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it's like what you're seeing in Africa with these leaders, these young leaders who are thinking that they want to join forces together and have something amongst themselves. You're absolutely right, Nana. There will be an all-out war because the Americans in the Western world don't want that. They do not want us to form together. There's a very, very famous speech that Maurice Bishop gives, and he says in his speech, there was a report that the Americans made, and they said that they fear Grenada most, little old Grenada, because Grenada, unlike Cuba, unlike these other islands, they speak English. That's in the report. They didn't want anyone in Grenada to be able to go out speaking English and basically saying, or pointing out all the things that were wrong and how we as Caribbeans should stop trying to say that we're better because we speak English, we're better because we speak French. We have all been colonized and enslaved. Let us join together. They didn't want that kind of speech out there. Okay. And this is what these leaders are doing as well. They're saying we can join forces and work together. They don't want that shit. It's fucking infuriating.
And just to see, like, look, after, 6 months after, this is just an article I've just happened to look at. This came out in September. Senegal's leaders face harsh reality check after promises of radical reform. And so they're locked in a standoff with parliament, because you're going to have the old guard who are a mixture of wanting to align with the West, scared of change. Yeah. Also, maybe they are naive to change and how they're going to do it. But it's just interesting that this is, these are the seeds that start to happen in it. Is it just quickly overviewing? Within a week of being inaugurated in April, as Senegal's youngest president, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, named his political mentor Ousmane Sonko as prime minister and announced his 25 cabinet appointments. He swept into power on a leftist anti-establishment and Pan-African agenda, promising radical reform, and said in his victory speech that his administration would focus on national reconciliation, easing the cost of living and fighting corruption. However, Macky Sall, the previous president, tried to delay the vote and left office with his country facing widespread poverty and almost a third of Senegal's youth unemployed. And how 6 months on, however, the promises of far-reaching change have not come to fruition. Faye and Sonko blame Parliament, where Sall's supporters still hold a majority, won in 2022. So Sonko's refusing to meet his policy agenda. So they're going to have infighting from older generations and other establishments. And they're going to have the West pressuring old leaders 100%, trying to make sure, like, let's destabilize these young people and show that they're just all mouth and no action, stuff like that. That's what's going to happen. I don't trust anything. I don't trust any reporting about the failings. We know that it's hard to win with politics, but I just don't trust that. I don't trust it at all.
It's hard to make change so quickly as well when you do have a bunch of old people still there wanting to do everything the old way because they're getting paid.
Exactly.
Precisely. They're getting paid. They lose their benefits and they lose members of their families. Like they will pay you. Like, so I also understand the whole thing of going into like, no, don't change it. Or, we're better under this rule because my family gets to survive. Like, I understand all of that resistance. There are still people in Ghana today that will be like, it was better when the British were ruling. They will still believe that.
Yeah. There was slaves that were freed that said that.
Yeah. This is it. Like, so, there's going to be a period where everybody has to get extremely uncomfortable for the change to take place. And we just have to throw our hands up that that's what's going to happen. Or we are going to live under this system forever. And they're going to have pockets of oppression happening all around the world all the time. But I would prefer to imagine the world where we don't have that, where they're all at a sync, where we just get rid of that mindset. We're not under anybody's colonial rule and we're self-determined. And I believe that we can do that, but we've got to get rid of them. The people, there's more of us than there are them. So
and that's like everyone was told, isn't it? Like we're the minority.
It's that story of the fleas in the jar, isn't it? Where the fleas are jumping. They keep hitting their head on the ceiling, and one day they don't realize that the lid's off and that they can jump. But because they've been trained to believe that the lid is on, they don't jump anymore. That's literally us, fleas in a fucking open jar. Let's move on because today is not the day. You're not keeping us for 12 hours. Now I'm trying to jump around. Let's talk on our good old friend Kemi Badenoch, who speaks on parenting. She said, and I quote, there's a picture of Kemi in there if you want to put a picture up, Nans. Kemi Badenoch, a frontrunner for the Conservative Party leadership, addressed the importance of fatherhood and parenting in an interview. She described parenting as a two-person job and called for more focus on the role of fathers, noting that the party had often focused on single mothers in the past. Reflecting on her experience as an MP, she said, I remember early on as an MP, I did quite a lot of casework on absent fathers who the child support agency was chasing. I think if people make children, they should be made to look after them. Family is important. Badenoch also linked the role of fathers to broader social issues, particularly within the prison population, stating, if fathers look after their children better, they will be less likely to end up in prison. And those are the sorts of things that we need to talk about more. Her comments came in response to Sir Christopher Chope, who had criticised her as being too preoccupied with her children to lead the Conservative Party. So there's a lot of stuff there because she's right and wrong, broken clock. There is some stuff, but then also who's that man, Sir Christopher, to come and tell her what she could and can't do as a mother? There's that. But also, what do you lot think about what she's saying, in all honesty?
Yeah, like a clock, she's right in it.
Yeah.
She's right at one thing that she's got right. Yes, two parents are needed, and they don't have to be in the house together, but they definitely do need to be in their children's lives as much as possible. Equally, it would be great, but you know, sometimes at a lesser. She's just right for a second. That guy just sounds wholly sexist.
Yeah.
Like, so even as a father, let's say he is a father and he is still running for prime minister, I still expect you to be a father, and I still expect you to be involved in your family's life. Like, it's wild to be like she's too involved in her family to be prime minister. No, I would want both. I want you to be prime minister and be involved with your family. Wild shit.
Oh, they're both fuckeries, basically. It's just what it is. It's like, imagine that's your argument. She's too much involved with her own children. Like, okay. Don't make Kemi look good now. Come on, please.
This is what they do. And all this could be a strategy to puppetize us and make us like, oh, actually, Kemi's got a point. Because if we talk about absent fatherhood, we talk about the disproportionate effects of absent fatherhood on children that are raised in families without their fathers in the home. I'd like to see all the stats on what happens to people that go to prison, whether they're, because she's arguing that a lot of the prisoners haven't got fathers in the home. I don't know about the stats on that. I don't really understand. I just know poverty is a problem. I know abuse is a problem. I know trauma is a problem. So is it actually about the absent father that contributes to people being in prison? I don't know. Let's see the stats. But her general point
it is a huge factor. The amount of people in prison that come from single mother households, and that's like all across the West. It is disproportionate to two-parent households and then going into prison. But also what's compounded by that is the other factor of poverty. So it's like a single parent, it's poverty, and then the absent father as well. So they all kind of go hand in hand. But if I put it on men still, because if you're still present, it doesn't matter that there was one person in the home with them a majority of the time, if you were still influential financially and present in their life. But loads of men run from those stats.
Do you know what I mean? I'd like to know the stats for the people who had parents that were present that may not necessarily have been together. Like, they're not talking about those stats when they say it. They're just like, your dad wasn't at home with you, so that's the reason why. I think there's always a lot of variations in these things. But let's not forget that Kemi was the same woman the other day that was talking about you don't need maternity leave.
Yes.
You know, like, so anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we'll keep an eye on what she's saying, but she's making her run in for the leader. This guy, Chris, is going for another guy. But, you know, this could be his way of saying, I don't want this black woman running the country. So he's finding another way in. So his entry point is to say
she's still in the running.
I can.
Top two. Like,
I can't believe it.
It could happen. You know, Britain likes to find their ways to do what America does. This could happen. Could happen.
If she actually does win and is the leader of the Conservative Party, for real, I could see this taking place. At least we would have 4 years where all she's doing is chatting shit. Like, it's not like she's the prime minister.
Yeah, and I don't think she's going to last 4 years.
Yeah.
And we're saying 4 years. It could be 5 years before the next election. Who knows what happened? But like, I definitely don't see her waiting this out. I don't see her lasting this long.
I don't know, because like I don't know. I don't trust a lick, so I will not put my hand in the fire for nothing. She could be the one. She could be, or they'll find a way to get her out like Rishi. But
she ain't lasting 5 years. She's not. She'll fuck herself over before then, and they'll get what they always do: a white middle class man to represent them. That is what they'll do.
Let's see. Watch this space. News and nonsense. Absolute news. Absolute nonsense. Watch this space. Okay, guys, have you heard about this woman? So, get a little bit of nonsense up in here. I think we've been a bit too serious. Oh, share screen. Let's go. This woman. She's a 64-year-old mother.
That don't mean nothing. That do not mean nothing.
It's no more good.
Well, you will find out if I'm any good or not.
And if the DNA test ain't right, I'm gonna have to lock you up now.
You're not gonna have me locked up. Your ass is gonna be the one getting locked up.
What? We got to find this out, Judy. You couldn't have that, Judy. You said them eggs.
I ain't never told you nothing like that. I'm really angry about this because I'm going through this and stuff, and you're trying to deny that this is not your baby, and it is.
Yeah, I just felt like it was just good to stay busy and stay away from the phone because ain't nothing good coming from that phone. And what's the baby name gonna be?
His name gonna be Peanut.
What? Can't be real, Judy. We got to get on the good foot and get this thing here and figure this thing out here. So we got to get to the bottom.
Okay, we'll get to the bottom of it. I'm getting off this phone.
The funniest thing about that is when he said, "No eggs is no more good."
Oh, an influencer, Sunny Park, shocked her TikTok audience by announcing that her 64-year-old mother is pregnant in a viral video that has now amassed over 16.2 million views. In the clip, Palms films her mother visiting a doctor, and the pregnancy was confirmed at 8 weeks. The unexpected news has stirred reactions, with viewers expressing both disbelief and hope, as some commented that this situation gave them encouragement about pregnancy at older ages. Though rare, it is medically possible for older women to conceive with the help of hormone treatments, although it carries significant health risks such as gestational diabetes and preeclampsia. Palms has since followed up with more videos under the theme 64 and pregnant, though there is no official confirmation of the pregnancy outside of her social media posts. And this is supposed to be, as I said, allegedly her calling the baby father or the grandpuppy father. I don't even know what you call it. For me, it's when he said, "Get on the good foot." That was, that was so.
No eggs is no more good.
Get on the good foot and get on this sorted. Shit.
This is wild. So is it real? Is she actually pregnant? She truly is a pregnant woman at 64.
Well, it's just that she's I haven't seen the video of Simi, the influencer, saying, going to the doctors, confirming the pregnancy, but then there's nothing official confirming outside of. So it's a body gang saying that I stick to my statement. It's a skit.
I feel it is. That was what, even the first one when she's in the doctors and she's sitting on the bed thing and the daughter is laughing, like, how can you be pregnant at your age? And the mum's like, I'm not going to keep it anyway. And she's like, of course we're going to keep it. I thought that was a skit. I mean, she could be, I guess.
Watch the space, bro. Watch this space.
Yo, eggs is no more good.
Get on the good foot.
I'm thinking she truly looks like a 64.
I'm going to show you how good my eggs are.
Can she push a baby out and still be nice?
Everyone needs to push a baby out. Sometimes they go through the sunroof.
No, I don't even think she could carry for 9 months. Like, she's an old woman. Your body goes through crazy shit.
But it can happen.
She looks a bit more weathered than some 64, 65-year-olds I know. She does look a bit more weathered.
Salon. Yeah, the attention economy is wild. Anything for content. At this point, we've gone nuts. Anything. Imagine me putting my 64. My mom's not 64. If by miracle 82 she gave birth or she was pregnant, and I'm about to, actually, to be fair, that would be such a miracle. I probably would come and get some coins from it, to be fair.
The oldest mother was over 70. But what type of 70?
What type of 70,
What type
man?
of 70? There are different types of 60s.
Yeah.
This woman looks like a more weathered 64. Like literally, I can imagine high blood pressure.
Ooh.
You know, like shit's going on. Like, so can she do this?
Ooh.
It's not a matter of can she. She is, isn't it? You gonna see what my ex can do.
Oh my god.
Wow. It's amazing. But anyway, we'll keep it
I
posted.
get no, but you know what? Just to go back on like one of the points that you made, like I get why people are like, oh, this is actually quite inspiring. Because if you're someone who is of the older age, like in your 40s or 50s or whatever, and you haven't been able to have children yet, you might look at this woman and be like, oh my gosh, there's hope for me yet. Because I think people do take for granted that you can get pregnant. It is physically possible to get pregnant when you're older. So, you know, her eggs are good.
Okay. So back to more serious. Back to more serious news, because that was a little sage cleanser. Let's see. Okay, so did you hear this? The Roman Catholic Church, which has faced decades of child sexual abuse allegations with cases spanning across the world. In the US, these scandals have gained significant attention in the early 2000s when investigative reports exposed the extent of abuse and insistent cover-ups by church officials. However, recently in Los Angeles, the Archdiocese has long-standing allegations and in 2007 settled for $660 million with more than 500 victims. However, recent changes in California law extended the statute of limitations for child abuse cases, allowing new lawsuits to be filed for historic abuse. This led to a wave of claims, with some dioceses like San Francisco and San Diego declaring bankruptcy to handle the financial burden. However, the Los Angeles Archdiocese avoided bankruptcy, instead agreeing to pay $880 million to 1,353 victims, making it the largest settlement to date. This settlement is part of the church's ongoing efforts to address the damage, though many feel that financial compensation cannot fully heal the trauma endured by survivors. The legacy of abuse continues to weigh heavily on the institution, despite reforms aimed at preventing further incidents. What do you lot think about the payout? Is it a payout, or is it time to abolish? Can you abolish this system?
Which system?
I don't know.
Not
the Catholic Church, but whatever keeps
Catholicism.
Whatever keeps not Catholicism, the religion, but what keeps this in place? What is it? What is it? What is it to be abolished? What happens? How does this get stopped?
Expand.
I don't know, because I don't understand. Like, what's the system that's in place that keeps these things happening, whether it's within religion, whether it's in the, we've got the whole Diddy situation going on. There's a system that's in place that allows these things to happen. Sorry, I should have been clear. I'm not still, maybe not still. I just don't, there's something in the rot of the world that this people in power and who control the masses get away with this kind of level of, I don't know, abuse and power manipulation in this way, using sex.
I think it's like, if we look at it simplistically, like there is a set of men and women, it's not just men that get involved with paedophilia, that find themselves in institutions and they abuse their power. Mm-hmm. That would be, I think that's like the lowest rung of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But everybody seems to be complicit within it. Like they don't want their institution to be seen like this is what happens, but it does. And then I think there's another layer of they know why they are doing this en masse to young people. They know why they're doing this. They know why they're doing it en masse to women. They know that there is something else involved in there. And I will say it is spiritual, what they're involved in. And so at every institution, where as you go higher, it's the same practices that they're doing. It can't be coincidental that these crazy folk all seem to get together and then they're very powerful. That we have to be like, no, there is a structure of power and influence over humans. And then within that, there are these things that they do and they abuse people sexually. Now, what's that energy that they're creating? And if we're being honest, I think those are the conversations that we need to have, because we know that they go to prison. They give off, let's say 5% of them that they hand back to society to be like, okay, this is the face of paedophilia and this will be punished. But then everybody else who's still running the top is still able to do what they're doing. And every so often there'll be a huge case of this super billionaire man or somebody in great lengths of power that was abusing hundreds, if not thousands of people. What's that? Like, I think that's really the thing. It's not about the church. Every church, mosque, it doesn't matter. There's people in positions of power and they're abusing people. And we're not actually exploring why are they abusing people to this degree and why are thousands of them doing it. Giving out money, cool. Those victims deserve any type of compensation they can get. But that's not going to stop them.
Yeah. What she said. I think that's I don't even have anything more to add to that, because doesn't matter what religion you practice, doesn't matter what kind of country you live in, when it comes to even people being punished. It's like Nana said, they give you a percentage. You know, if you look at the people that actually end up in jail, it's a very small percentage of people who are known to have been abusers. And then it's usually at the very end of their life. And then it's usually not for very long sentences either. The crime, the punishment never seems to fit the crime. And you're giving them money, okay, fantastic. That's not really going to help their trauma, though, is it?
I think no, I think, and I don't know enough, so maybe I'll come back to this and with a bit more research and take my time. But there is something about the power of I say Catholic Church, but I don't want to blame it's not Catholicism, the religion, but the institutions that have been built around these religions that I'm uncomfortable with. And that's what I need to figure out. And it's not just necessarily, it's not saying they're one and the same when it comes to abuse and stuff, but there's a power that doesn't sit with me and religion in itself. Like, and let me be very extreme, that if you're living like how they said Jesus was living humble, like just living humbly and you're spreading the word, I can get it. But in all these, it's not just Catholicism, we have it a lot in the Pentecostal church. We have all our super fly pastors flying jets and wearing designers and things like that. Yeah. There's something about when you're spiritually open and you're spiritually leading a people, and that ease of how power can corrupt. You're preaching about the way power can corrupt, but then you become the representation of the corrupted power. I struggle. I don't want my religious leaders to have so much power. I don't. And with that, but all of that, then it starts to get entangled in the government. It starts to get entangled in politics. It starts to get entangled because so many wars have got, but I'm just saying that there's so many wars have got religion tied to them. And in the name of Christianity, in the name of Islam, in the name of these religions, and then all of these things gets tied in. And then there's a spirituality aspect. There's what you said, Nana, about what is this power exchange and physical exchange that you need, that these things need to keep going, whatever you believe, whatever you understand. There's things that I don't understand. So that's why I said I'm speaking carefully, but there's something in my core that the power of religion and government and state and politics, I don't like. And that's where all this sits for me, that I struggle with. That's what I think, maybe that's what my initial point was. Like, how do these it doesn't change the beasts that run these things. It doesn't change the evil people that do what they're going to do. But there seems to be a ritualism that meets power, religion, politics, and all that type of stuff that is unavoidable. And I think that of all the institutions that should not be anywhere near that is religious ones. And I don't know if I'm being clear, but I think
you are being clear. But I think that's the problem, that these institutions are linked, and people need to recognize that more. People just want to separate them. Like, you've got this religion over here, and that religion over here, and then you've got politics, and then you've got, but it is all linked. You know, these people who are in these positions of power, I dread to think like what's really going on at the top, because if you watch that program on Netflix, and I think I've mentioned it before, and it's called The Family, and it's about exactly. If you watch that program, it's nothing to do with religion. It's about power and who's controlling the world, and that's what it really is about. It's not about these. They're just hiding. They're hiding behind whatever notion of power sits best with the people that they're reaching in that particular area. That's what it is.
Yes, that's exactly it. Let me just share you. I just want to put you guys on. It's an interview that I watched. that is actually, hang on, why is it stop screen sharing? There we go. Let me put this on. I urge everybody to watch this. And I never heard of this dude, Tommy Arayemi. He is a pastor. This producer, never heard of him before as well. But the little bit of research that I did, he definitely, at the beginning of Diddy being very powerful, he did a couple of tunes with him, and he did make waves. And when you hear his stories of what he saw with Diddy and how he managed to leave that circumstance and also then be harassed and then be drugged in a place that is affiliated with Beyonce's lawyer, is very interesting. Now he doesn't even deal in that type of music anymore at all, hip hop or R&B. But just listening to how he talks about the structures of what's going on, I think the same thing takes place in the church. And he's a Christian man. So it follows through in all different ways, and there definitely is entities at play. But just watch this interview. It's brilliant. It's a quick snippet into actually like the dark side of what's going on. And I think that's the, you know, sometimes when people change their music, like even Andre playing the flute, I think he is subtly trying to send signals out that what you guys are listening to is pure filth and shit.
Yeah, basically.
And without him going on a rant and preaching to everybody, he's decided, I'm just going to put something else out for you guys to listen to. Like, just, but it's interesting. It's an interesting space to be in, and the church doing like mass compensations as well. I think we all kind of need to wake up to what we've been thinking is going on is not what's been going on, and it's probably far more sinister. And they kind of threw us off by giving us this Illuminati to think about. Just be like, it's far away people in cloaks, and actually it's probably just being the person that could have been running the church that you've been going to, that is involved in these practices that are bringing these entities to the forefront. And they don't have to do cloak and dagger ceremonies. They can literally just do it in their meetings with each other. Like, it's just not that far away as we've been thinking it is.
Yeah, and KW, I agree. Are you playing it?
No. It's a long one. I'm telling people to just so that you can all see it. I slept in Diddy's house. The guy's name is Tori Arayemi.
Drop the link.
Watch it. It's a good one.
Drop the link in the chat. Or did you do it already?
Yeah. No, I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, what did he say? What's this you're saying? There's an Andre 3000 clip going around where he said Future makes the best negative music.
Yes, he does.
And there's a lot, and I think there's a lot in because even, you know, it's just, yeah, I separate church from state very much so. I definitely agree with that. And I want to find a version where all religious leaders, first and foremost, return to, you know, humble existence, not to be poor and destitute at all, but humble existences, and then having a bit more of a, that should be the place of sanctuary. That should be the place where wherever I go, I can trust the church. You should never go to church and be manipulated or abused. You should never. I should never be fearful that my child goes to Sunday school or child goes into the space of religious leader and feel like there's something
about schools.
No, I know.
That's why I'm saying it's like people who are in positions of power. Like, I should never be. We should never fear that you send your child to school and they're molested, or you send your child to the hospital and they're molested. Like, it's people in positions of power.
No, I get that. I'm just saying there's certain institutions. I'm not even separating, but there are certain, even more so. The space, the spiritual. It's just for me. There's something I have.
I think that's what people. You can't separate them. That's because the people who are doing these things in these positions, they're using that in order for you to feel freer. But I think that the people who run schools, you're handing over your child to someone for X amount of hours. You're handing over your child. You know, like if you're going to hospitals and things like that, you're handing over your child to these people. Like, it's just people in positions of power.
Yeah. And Jordan Parker, you're right. The church is made up of humans, not gods. But yet there's humans that are positioned as gods in this and worshipping them instead of who you're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
So that's news that we'll definitely be looking out for. Did you guys see? I won't deal with that one now because we're going to have to wrap up soon. This old nonsense, but I'm very, very glad that initial justice has been served. Let me pause that for a second. The boy that was followed in the neighborhood and the 3 white men that were following him. So, I mean, what the good news is that this particular guy, I think this guy's doing a little report on it as well.
That's a pew in his hand. If I say it, they're going to take my video down, so I can't say it. That's what it is. Sarasota, Florida, where this group of white people profile this black teen.
What's going on, buddy?
Nigga, brother. She in my visiting a friend, that's fine. Just let us know because you get neighbors concerned since you're walking around my house. I'm not walking around your house. Hold on, Steve. You've been past my house 4 times. I don't know you. I've never seen you before, and you're walking past my house over and over again. So if you live here or you have a friend visiting here, that's fine. I'm not in front of your house. You're actually following me.
We're just asking a question. You live out here?
I'm a part of the neighborhood.
You're part of the neighborhood? Does that mean you live here? It's simple.
Like, bro, what?
You live here. I went up to my wife.
Bro,
Did he just say you went up to my wife?
Yep.
He did.
Yep.
I don't know who you're talking about. Bro. And I think I can walk around my neighborhood.
If you live here, yeah. So you live here.
Right?
You live here?
You gonna keep asking me the same question over and over and over and over and over. This man following me. This is harassment, right?
You haven't answered yet.
That's harassment, right? That's harassment, right?
I think what you did to my wife, yes.
Look. He followed. You read it up.
What did he do to his wife?
Yes, he lives there. He absolutely lives there. And he doesn't have to answer to anybody who decides to profile him. He doesn't have to.
I don't know how long this goes on. I haven't watched all of it. But
There's a point where, let me just interject. There's a point where the first person you see in that video goes into his car and takes out a gun.
Yeah, or appears to be a gun.
No, it's been confirmed as a gun because there's video footage. You can see that it's a gun. And then the other people in that video basically stop him from doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And this is because this teenager was walking around what they deem to be their neighborhood.
Right.
So apparently the London Stock Exchange Group, LSEG, recently fired a US-based employee after this video. I think the guy that jumped out is the one that works for the London Stock Exchange Group, and they fired him. They confirmed that he's been dismissed. So there's that, which the justice has always happened. But what if there was no camera? What if he was not filming? And even I swear a police car goes past and he says, isn't this harassment? And I think they were saying that nothing was done until this video went viral. They weren't going to do anything. They weren't going to do anything about it. They were just going to let these men go on their merry way. However, because he was filming. And
I mean, this could have ended it'd be one of those stories that we literally are talking about. Like all this young boy was doing was just walking through his neighborhood. He could have been another Trayvon Martin.
Exactly.
He could have been. And why my ears kept on pricking up with like what you did to my wife. It's like you're already, so you can see he's filming, but you're already trying to sow the seeds.
Yeah.
If this comes out in any way, and you guys have done something to him, that somehow he had done something to a white woman, and have we not been here for flipping decades dealing with the same shit that what they do to black boys? They literally wanted to pulp his head. That they wanted to eradicate him in his own area. He is not allowed to just be walking around. Like, he was just bopping.
He just literally said that he went to get cell phone because after the hurricanes or whatever happened, he went to get cell service. He was walking around his neighborhood. So then they're coming to challenge. Bardi Gang's saying that he sent a video to our DM about the one that happened in the UK just recently. Have a look at that one. But yeah, he was just walking around. It's just that walking around like, what's your problem? And if it's the way that it's exactly that, the real, I don't know what to say, demonic, evil way that they just all align. Like, first of all, you're following this boy, then you're throwing in these little lines to make sure that, yeah, well, he attacked my wife, basically. Basically, if there was no camera, they would have said he attacked his wife. Would have said he jumped out. But there was
past my house 4 times.
4 times. I'm not even looking at where the boy's just walking, not looking at your house, not even on your walking in the road, not even on your pathway to say he walked on my grass or something like that. Minding his own damn business. And so what do we have to send our kids out with cameras around their necks now?
Honestly, you see when we was in at the show, and I kept on saying like I really want those Meta glasses. Yeah. I really do want those Meta glasses. Like it feels like that may have to be a thing, that we are just going around recording everything. That you can't just be walking. I walk around here all the time. I'm not walking anywhere. I'm literally getting my steps in, trying to get to flipping 10,000 steps. I can walk where the hell I want. Exactly. Now, if I was bopping and then a bunch of white people are like, why are you here? Like, what type of shit is this? And then I can't even kick off, because then in some factions, people would be like, well, they were justified in killing you because you were running your mouth.
Exactly. Yeah. And also, it shouldn't even, I don't even have to live in the area. If I want to take a long rambling walk wherever the fuck I want, because unless it's a gated area where you can't be inside behind the gates without an ID pass or something, you can walk. The world is free at this point, essentially. You do not have to have it's not fucking segregation day to have your fucking ID pass and where's your papers? Your thinking post-slavery papers. Have you got permission to walk around here? You like, come on. I don't want
the UK one. Because again, I do think there is that thing, there is that perception like this only happens in America, and it's like, no, we have that same shit going on here as well.
I don't understand why they hate us. Really. This happened in the UK.
I drive because I'm going to work. I'm delivering one parcel. I've reversed.
There's children around here. Shut up shouting.
Shut your fucking mouth. Where's the children? Where's the children?
Get
out my face. Get out my face. Get out my fucking face. Who
I told her to be in your face.
Get out my face. Who the fuck do you think you are coming to talk to me?
Me.
Shut up. No one cares.
Yeah.
Get out my face. Why are you trembling? Get out of my face.
Trembling?
Get out of my face.
Get shit out of you, you little black cunt.
See?
You know what that?
Yeah.
Let's
play the fuck. Let's fucking chuck on the van one day, shall we? Okay? You can't.
I've reversed into their drive because I'm going to work. I'm delivering one parcel. I've reversed.
There's children around here. Shut up shouting.
Shut your fucking mouth. Where's the children? Where's the children?
Get
out my face. Get out my face. Get out my fucking face. Who
I told her to be in your face.
Get out my face. Who the fuck do you think you are coming to talk to me?
Me.
Shut up. No one cares.
Yeah.
Get out of my face. Why are you trembling? Get out of my face.
Trembling?
Get out of my face.
Get shit out of you, you little black cunt.
See? You know what that?
Yeah.
Let's
play the fuck.
That's assault. That's assault.
You can't.
I've reversed into their drive because
he was also fired. Okay, Bardi said he was fired. Man is grey. Yes, he is grey.
Yes.
Oh, my blood's boiling. I actually also want to cry.
This is because look, it is that there's children around here. I too, when he said, "Where's the children?
Where's the kids?"
I too was looking like, hang on. All I saw was that white man and a white woman. Like, where was the kids? And you are surrounding me and stopping me from doing my job, and I should keep my voice down. Are you crazy?
And the fact of the matter that thank God that he stood up for himself, but also that one that's laughing, there's oh, come here, get a bunch of them and try and kick him out. The man had the audacity to come and knock the phone out of his hand. Get fired, yes, get fired, yes. I want to know more. What's the man's name?
So the white guy got fired,
yeah? Yeah, apparently got fired. Bardi said, Bardi's any like names or any information? What area is this? I need to know more. I never even saw this story. But this is for our American family. This happens in the UK too. It happens in the UK too. Like, fuck off, all of them. Fuck you. Like, you're so insecure.
Imagine that you're just doing your job. Like on my drive, we don't have a car at the moment. So especially delivery drivers that we know, because lots of them used to deliver when I was doing Love Yaya, they will just pull up and park there.
Hold on.
It's just a thing. They're going to stop on drives. They're going to use your drive to maneuver around. They're doing a job. You should absolutely be like, this is cool. When you want your parcel, you want a delivery man to be able to deliver it to you. This is what they're going to do. You're harassing somebody while they're working, talking about why are you in our area.
Wow.
Hold on, Bardigan, double check. Is it the driver that was fired or the white man that was fired? Because I also
I can't
see.
The
black guy was fired. He's saying the black guy was fired. Honestly, I saw it this morning.
That's what I thought he meant.
Oh.
Okay, we gotta get involved.
We gotta find this.
Yeah.
I didn't go to see.
I'm not logged into X, so I can't read all of the comments. But I would definitely will research this a hell of a lot more and find out where the man was fired from.
That's insane.
Yeah, we gotta follow up on this one. It is giving Essex. They sound like they are from Essex, definitely. But you never know. Sometimes this is parts of London that this shit's going on.
Also, speaking of X, and actually no, I can't even. DJ, what's his name? How do you spell the handle? Keon.
Hang on.
Yeah, I think it's DJ Keon.
Yeah.
They ganged up. Okay, let me see. I can share a screen here. Let me see if we can get to the thread. I'm fucking incensed. I need a very nonsense story. You got to go to your conspiracy afterwards. They ganged up on me for no reason. I'm the only one that lost their job for apparently antagonizing. I should have just walked away. Make it make sense.
Walk away how? They're surrounding you.
Why?
They're surrounding him.
You see, hold on. Take them to tribunal.
Yeah.
There's nothing. If there's anything you need amplifying a story, he assaulted you. He should be arrested. Yeah, he's posted the story. So DJ Keon is the actual person it happened to.
Okay. And he seems to have posted this yesterday. Okay.
I'm the only one who lost the job. And then if I could big up Valley for taking to a tribunal. There's no further details, I don't believe.
All right. So what we need the internet to do now is deliver us the names of all of those white people that was there.
Yeah.
We need to know who they are. We need to start harassing their bosses so that they lose their jobs. He needs to take his employee to a tribunal, most definitely. Like, this is wild behavior.
Okay. Oh God. I mean, people are just like, we should have parked in his. It's not that deep. Even if he parked in the wrong place, just say, oh, bruv, don't. You know what I mean? This is easy. You can see he's a delivery guy. Sometimes guys make mistakes. I think you said that, Nana.
Yeah. But they're there for like 3 minutes. People will park across our drive, into our drive. They're there for 3 minutes and then they're gone again. And if we did have a car and you're coming into your drive, they usually will move off and go somewhere else. It's like the roads are not situated where we have bays designated for delivery guys. They have to try and park up wherever they can. And they would know this, because if this was a white guy, he wouldn't have, you clearly said black cunt for a reason. If he was white, you wouldn't have been harassing him. You would have just let him go about his business.
Exactly. There's literally no words. I don't know. There's nothing here. We'll see if we can hear more of this story. Thanks for sharing, Bardigan. Disgusting.
Yeah, we need to kind of back in some way.
All right. Let's get, because I gotta go. Final story is Nana. We got Nana on her conspiracy theories.
I'll find a little few.
We're not going to talk about the inquest.
What
As
inquest?
we were talking about black things happening to people, things happening to black people in England. We're not going to talk about the guy.
I've got like 5 minutes left. Do you want to quickly?
Okay.
We can.
I don't know. But explain it, because I have no idea what this is.
It was about the black man. They found. Let me quickly. Now you said it. Let me say it. Where is it? Andrew. I didn't forget a picture of him. Oh,
if you click on the link that I sent
you. An inquest on Andrew McCleary. So, a man that was unlawfully killed. I did have a picture of him actually. Man that was unlawfully killed following prolonged restraint by Bedfordshire Police and the East of England Ambulance Service on the 29th of May 21. Andrew, who had taken cocaine and was experiencing heart palpitations, called 999 for help. Despite initially agreeing to hospital treatment, he later refused, prompting officers and paramedics to forcibly restrain him under the Mental Capacity Act. However, the criteria for restraint under the MCA were not properly applied. Andrew was forcibly restrained for 18 minutes, during which he repeatedly stated he could not breathe. After this restraint, Andrew went into cardiac arrest and died the following day. The jury has found that his death was caused by a combination of cocaine use and the physical and psychological effects of the restraint. The inquest revealed failures in communication, risk assessment, and monitoring of his condition, concluding that the use of force contributed to his death. So his family expressed gratitude for the verdict.
That's to say that this article, I had to go searching for this. There's no actual news articles about this at all. It's only on inquest.org, which actually details lots of inquests, the results of that's happening. But it's not in like mainstream media at all.
No, it's not. It's really not. It's
wow.
really
not. This did not come across my feeds at all. When did this happen? What was the year?
21. Shea Borough reported like the conclusion, so I had it on the story. Then Farrah sent me the link to the inquest, so it's there. But it's very, and even googling it to try and find more stories on it, even finding his picture, it goes to a white guy who's been in crime for something else. It doesn't even go to him. There's barely any pictures of him. Barely.
3 years, and the inquest is basically saying that the officers are guilty, and nobody is talking about this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that's wild. I mean, on a cocaine high, I would have thought that most policemen actually would know how to deal with that, because you see it all the time.
Yeah.
So we
they pinned him down.
There has to be racial factors within this anyway.
Yeah, they pinned him down, and he said he couldn't breathe. That 18
minutes restraining somebody, you are going to kill them.
Like, and the thing is, he's high. Like nightlife, you're supposed to have the tools and the training and the understanding of how to deal with people who are high. That is literally 101, I would think. I'm not a police officer, I'm not trained, but between the police and the ambulance people, both of you lot are fucked up there. Both of you.
But to get that ruling that this is what has killed him as well, you guys really, really killed him, because they would have tried to just blame it on the drugs.
Yeah.
But for a ruling to be like, no, and his constraints actually killed him, that's nuts. One of my sister's really good friends, her cousin was actually killed by the police in, I think it was like 2004. And they still won't admit it, because he was schizophrenic and he was in crisis and was a big guy. He was big. It was like 6'3" and quite wide as well. It was kind of ruled that they needed to restrain him in the way that they did to keep him safe. Subsequently, trying to keep him safe, you killed him. And so they kind of got off with that. It's like we had to restrain him. And their restraint, I think that was like 12 minutes. And again, they know you can't restrain somebody like that for that long without doing shit to their body. Like, you're probably going to kill them. So 18 minutes is wild, and they get away with this.
Yeah.
And again, oh my God, she tried so hard to get the media involved in it, to just be talking about it. Like, just anybody, this is anyone, this is The Voice, this is any newspaper to take up the story of what the family was going through. Most people was like, nah, because they know the consequences from the police. They harass folks.
Yeah.
This is horrible, though.
But this ruling is important if it wasn't buried as well. So, God. Do you want to quickly do your conspiracy theory story?
Okay, all right. My latest conspiracy. I'm still researching it, but I came across some stats. This is for my American folks, just on the rise of kind of how the authorities deal with Black people. And, when you're thinking of why is it that, you can meet a liberal white person all the time, but then you come across law enforcement and they are always overzealous when they're dealing with Black people. There's always this run. And there's stats out there that are like 65 to 70% of law enforcement, that is police officers and FBI agents, come from the Mormon church. Now, the Book of Mormon was actually what explored that Black people are cursed. And this is what they fundamentally believe, that Black people with our dark skin, we were cursed in the great battle of the worlds, in the heaven and hell, and the humans. And when the devil lost, the humans that were with the devil were cursed with darkness. And so that's why you have Black people. And I just thought there has to be a strong correlation between enforcing, like going to the Mormon church and Mormon territories to get police enforcement to be running things, and how they treat Black folk. I wanted us to explore that. Just keep an eye. I'm really going into how this is run, who decided that the Mormon church was the one that was bringing up the most effective law enforcement people, and why they are there, and in the military as well. I think there is a connection.
I mean, it's wild. It's wild that you're saying the idea is that Black people are cursed, because that was all people at one time, no?
Exactly.
So the start of creation, is that what you're talking about? It's so fucking stupid.
But again, it's church and state. Let's get why is it so interconnected? And then if you're following the rules of your religion, you're going to view a certain set of people that your religion says, these are the cursed ones, and they don't deserve to exist in the same way that you do. So you prosecute them more harshly.
Precisely. So you're going to that faction to get people in to be running the country. I was like, that's very interesting. Yeah, so we must be
trained as well.
You
know.
Yeah. The Mormon church.
The Mormon church. We shall look into it even more. Guys, this has been News and Nonsense. It's like a little snapshot for the afternoon. Hope you enjoyed it. We will be back to our regular programming on a Friday. But let us know if you like the Sunday, because we might do some Sundays as well. Who knows? So
leave us a message. Like, let us know. Friday or Sunday. You know what? I'll do a poll. I'll do a poll in the community area. Yes, that you guys can vote what we should do, Fridays or a Sunday.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. That's been News and Nonsense. Have a good afternoon. So mad I missed the opening. Oh, bless you, Body Gang. Thank you for contributing. I did not know about that UK story, and we will keep an eye on it.
Yes, thank you so much, guys.
Oh man. Cocoa Pots, I just want to share Coco's pot. I recently had a crisis, and the police came bursting into my flat and restricted me. Was terrified. An officer White was hell-bent in trying to get a reaction from me. I need to report the officer. Cocoa Pot, please do.
Please report it. Like, don't even sit on this. Like, definitely report it.
Please. I'm so sorry. Imagine that. And then Ceylon Delon says, Black people were not allowed in the Mormon church as priests until 1978, Nana. Is a fascinating subject.
It really is. It really is. Yes. When it was like one of their high priests came along and was like, actually, I feel like Black people have now redeemed themselves. Like they've actually they've paid penance. So then what also the Mormon church started to do was send out a few people to bring Black partners. So you have a run of a few mixed race people in the Mormon church as well. So it's not a safe environment for Black folk. And we got to look into them. Definitely.
100%.
Yeah.
That's wild. All right, guys, have a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy your roasts, enjoy your dinners, enjoy your relaxation before the work week tomorrow.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Okay.